Hey everybody, welcome to The Big Show, and there's a reason we call it that. This episode is just packed with good stuff, so let's get right into it. Live at Ogden Elementary, we'll be chatting with the team there about a big event they had today, the first step towards a new school building, thanks to that bond measure voters passed in February. Plus, we'll check in with the VPS Communications Office on a way that parents can give the district feedback, and we'll have the latest news from across Vancouver Public Schools. But first, let's take a look at our top three. Coming in at number 3, the Hudson's Bay High School Photography Show with student work is up at River Maiden Coffee. Go grab a drink and see some great work. Thanks to River Maiden for offering students an outlet for their art. Make sure you go check it out and support the kids. Number 2 comes to us from Alki Middle School. Community presenters came in for Alki's Career Day. Events like this help students understand not only what kinds of jobs are out there, but how college can help them get those jobs. Thanks to all the volunteers who came in to speak to the kids. And finally, our number 1, it is a reminder that the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools is having its annual fundraising luncheon exactly 1 month from today. Make sure you get your seat and register for it. If you've ever been, you'll know that the downtown Hilton gets crowded, so you want to make sure you snag a chair. As always, students from Fort Vancouver's Culinary Arts program are catering, so it is a delicious meal for a great cause. Earlier today, students and staff at Peter S. Ogden Elementary got a first glimpse at the Ogden of the future. Thanks to a bond measure passed in February, Ogden's current building will be replaced. At a special event just a couple of hours ago, architects from LSW talked to the school community about how their building will be changing. Ogden is one of the very first schools to be replaced with a new bond measure. And joining me now to talk about today's excitement and what is next for Ogden are a couple of members of the staff there. Guys, it's an exciting time for you and your community. It's exciting for us too. You're the first remote interview we've ever had on the show, so thank you for being our guinea pigs.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name is April Whipple. I'm the principal at Peter S. Ogden.
And I'm Janelle Moore, and I'm a first grade teacher here at Ogden.
Okay, well, let's start with what happened today. Tell us about today's event.
Today we were able to kick off our school-wide project-based learning event, and it's called Designing a Dream. We were able to invite 3 of the architects from LSW that will be working on the Ogden project. They came and were able to do a question panel with our 5th grade students to talk about what it's like to be an architect and what kind of schooling they went through in order to be architects. And then we went into talking with the students about our project, being that we will be the first elementary school to open in the new design. And the students were able to learn about their challenge. And in their challenge, the last 2 months of school, the students are going to be architects. And so our driving question is, how do we as architects design an effective elementary school? And each of the grade levels is going to be working on a space in the building, and they'll design it individually first. Then after that, they'll work in teams to come up with a physical model that they'll build in our makerspace. And then we'll be bringing the LSW architects back at the end of May, and the students will have the opportunity to present to experts their design, why they designed it that way, what they think should go into their space, and then they'll be on display for parents at our end of the year dance in June.
Okay, so it's not just about planning the building, it's actually about, educating the kids as you go.
Exactly. We want them to have the chance to brainstorm individually, to get feedback from people, to make edits and revise their designs, and then create a final product that not only do they build in a makerspace, but they present to experts to explain their thinking.
So what kind of input do you as a principal, April, and Janelle as a teacher, what kind of input do you guys have in the new building design as it's coming along?
We have the opportunity to help design the spaces. We're moving toward designing for what the students are going to need the spaces for, rather than the traditional 30 classrooms that are square shaped for 24 students. It's about the arts block, the reading, the math, the walk to learn, the things the kids are actually going to be doing in the spaces versus the space itself.
Sure.
We're also able to develop a school that's future ready rather than a school that we're using right now. We need to have a school that's sustainable for the next 50 or 60 years with technology changing. And we also have the opportunity to build a school for our culture and our community which is really rare that we actually get to build something that's just for our community, and all the schools get to do that. So there's not a prototype that we all have to fit into. We get to build something that's for our students, which is really nice.
Well, so speaking of your community, then what kind of things have you been hearing from the kids and parents and the neighbors around the school itself?
I have several volunteers this year that come into my classroom, so I've had lots of opportunities to talk to them, and just like the students, they're thrilled that we actually have this opportunity, and they're blown away by the fact that Vancouver Public Schools actually lets us have a decision in what's best for our students. They know that we know our students, we know our families, we know our community and our culture, and that we're able to build something that's for our area and our community. So they are beyond thrilled.
In April, I know you got to meet with the architects down at LSW.
We actually meet regularly with the architect team. So we go every other week for a half day, and we work through concepts with them. Eventually we will get to designing the actual spaces, but right now we're still talking about how we use the spaces and what we envision for a future school. And then we're also going to have the opportunity to have focus groups meet with the architects as we move forward, so they can specifically look at people that work in the office, classroom teachers, nurses, custodial, kitchen staff, to find out what their input is for those specific spaces.
Sure, and finally guys, before we let you go, what has it meant to you to have this kind of support from Vancouver voters?
The support has been phenomenal. We know that there's a history of support in Vancouver, but we felt that with the most recent election, the challenge was getting the number of voters out to make sure that people would show up and vote. And as Vancouver has shown year after year, they continue to show that continued support. And I would say it was surprising, but it's really not, because we live here and work with our families every day, and we see the support every day with families. So we know that they back up Vancouver schools. But we're very thankful for the yes vote, and very thankful for a brand new school in 2 school years.
All right, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and as a parent and teacher as myself, it's not just the parents that voted yes, it's also nice to have the support from the community of people who don't have children in school still, that they are still voting yes because they know how important it is to give our students what they need to, provide us a great future.
All right, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us, being our guinea pigs and coming out, and good luck in planning the school.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. And if you want to learn more about what's going on with this bond measure, there is tons of information on the district's webpage, vansd.org. You can find schedules, the history behind the bond, and a whole lot more. vansd.org/reschools will take you right there. Time now for the big story. Every St. Patrick's Day, Uptown Village in Vancouver is the place to be as the annual Paddy Hough Parade rolls down Main Street. Student reporter Aubrey Radke and student videographer Megan Bina caught all the action and filed this report.
Today we're out here at the Paddy Hough Parade and we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's having a great time out here.
Although it was quite rainy on St. Patrick's Day, that didn't stop local families from coming out to see the Paddy Hough Parade.
Why have you guys come here to support the parade today?
Every year we come forward and we just have a good time together.
It was clear everyone was having a great time, whether they were watching the parade.
I just like all the kids out there and, seeing all the community come together.
Or helping out behind the scenes.
Why do you take the Grand Marshal out every 5 years?
I don't know. We just like doing this. I do a few other parades every year, and this is one of my favorites.
The kids spent many hours preparing and perfecting their pieces. Once completed, you can see by the joy on their faces how excited they are to present it to the public. The Paddy Hough Parade is full of variety. There's always something for each person to enjoy.
What's your favorite part of the parade?
Thanks, Aubrey and Megan. While they were getting the story, my team and I were behind the scenes shooting a brand new episode of VPS Success. In the show, we interview students, learn what goes on before the event, and I even got to walk in the parade just a little bit. To see it, tune in on Comcast Channel 328, or easier still, watch the episode on the district's Facebook and YouTube page. Students from Vancouver iTech Preparatory will be headed to Louisville after they won a regional robotics competition. In total, 7 teams from iTech Prep competed in the VEX competition. 3 high school teams and 1 middle school team qualified for the regional final, and Atomic Raven Force, a high school team, took home the Excellence Award. Coached by teacher Cindy Hagan, Atomic Raven Force was recognized as the best overall team. The World Competition in Louisville is later this month. A Skyview High School legend returns to campus to share some knowledge with today's students. 3-time Olympian and U.S. record holder Kara Winger dropped in to speak to track and field athletes. Winger throws the javelin and represented the U.S. in Beijing and Rio de Janeiro. She told us she has returned to Skyview to practice in the past, but thought it was time she speak to students.
I've definitely felt like I never lost touch with this place, but I want to even more so immerse myself in my roots and really remember why I'm doing this and why I'm continuing to reach for the stars, if you will, chase my dreams. And a big part of that is that it all started right here.
Winger urged students to keep an open mind and try new things, which is how she ended up learning the javelin. At Skyview, Winger won 3 straight state titles before heading to college and the Olympics. For more district news, check out Inside Vancouver Public Schools. It's our main news program, and we'll be putting out a new episode later this week. In this episode, there is a major focus on technology in the classroom. You can see it on Comcast Channel 328, as well as the district's YouTube page, youtube.com/VanSDTV. We've got more news for you, this time coming from the district's communications office. Joining us now is Pat Nuzzo, the district's communications director. Pat, you guys are reaching out to parents?
That's right, Nick. We're conducting a survey, and this idea comes straight from our superintendent, Dr. Steve Webb. We want to know how we can best support your child's learning. What are we doing well, and where do we need to improve? It's easy to find and take the survey. There's a link on the district's homepage, vansd.org. Once you're there, you'll see a brief message from Dr. Webb, and then you can select your child's school. There's a series of questions. It should take you about 10 to 15 minutes. If you have more than one student, you can take the survey more than once. And there's one more bit of information we want to share with folks out there. If the rainy weather has kept you from getting your garden started, you're in luck. High school greenhouse sales are set to begin. Hudson's Bay, Fort Vancouver, Columbia River, and Vancouver Flex Academy all have greenhouses full of fresh, organic plant starts. The plant sales begin at the end of April and extend into May. Contact the school nearest you for their dates, or check out the district's website. All of the money raised helps support the school's horticulture programs. Nick, back to you.
Hey, thanks, Pat. Here's what's happening. A lot more going on in the district that you should know about. Believe it or not, it is time to start thinking about next fall already. Today, registration begins for the district kindergarten and preschool program. If you have a little one who will be entering school in the fall, you can start the process now. Head to the district website to find the sign-up information for your neighborhood school. And finally, the big picture, our favorite image from social media, and look at that. This one comes to us for the 2nd episode in a row from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southwest Washington. It was National Siblings Day this week, a time to celebrate the people you love the most and probably who annoy you the most as well. But I doubt these guys get too annoyed with each other. Look at that, matching shirts and matching smiles. What an adorable photo. Thank you to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southwest Washington. Make sure you give those guys a follow on Twitter. That's it for us. I want to thank the folks out at Ogden Elementary School for joining us. Thank you to our student crew, Pat Nuzzo, and of course, thanks to you for watching. Until next time, I'm Nick Voll.